In times of crisis, we are there. From fires to floods to the pandemic, we are on the front line, working with emergency services and evacuation centres in your communities near and far. When we need it the most, you can trust that we will be there.
Well, boys and girls, mums and dads of Sydney Royal Easter Show, you're about to see a uniquely Australian sport out here. It's World Championship Campdrafting. 15 of the finest campdrafters in all of Australia received a personal invitation to this event. Steeped in history, it's the camp draft with the broadest audience, that's for sure. And we're going to see man and horse v-beast here tonight. Welcome out our competitors. All kitted out. Competitors who have come to us from all over Australia. We've got previous winners out here tonight, several of them, and a couple of first-timers as well. In fact, 2 campaigners this evening that have never been to Sydney Royal Easter Show before. They'll warm up their horses here in the main arena. They'll have the voice of horse sports from polo cross to camp draft and everything in between in Jim Callanan, bringing you all of the action on the ground. And my co-host, Tim Dreverman, has managed to find himself a nice horse, and he'll be out there doing post-round interviews with anyone who gets through the coveted gate. Well, 2 fine judges out here tonight, and none other than Warwick Lawrence, who judged here last year. Great competitor too. He's currently sitting 9th in the most successful rider ABCRA standings. He's won the most successful rider title a number of times. Competed here for many, many years in the camp draft, has won and placed, and now he's on the other side of the fence. Warwick Lawrence, welcome to you, sir. And Rodney Crump, he'll be judging as well, a farrier from Hawkesbury, just on the outskirts of Sydney here. He's done very well here on more than one occasion. Welcome to you, Rodney Crump, placed in the Warwick Gold Cup as well. He's borrowed Scotty Jones-Ryan's horse from our Green Coat Brigade. And Tim Dreverman, I understand you've borrowed yourself a nice horse there.
Thank you very much, Linz. Yes, I did. Jade Smith has kindly lent me a horse because we did this last year and it was really well received. They're huffing, they're puffing, but these guys and girls competing out here, Lindsay Douglas, this is one of the best competitions you'll see anywhere in the country in the sport of camp drafting. It's Australia's own sport, and we love nothing more than to bring you all the action here in the main arena, and we look forward to bringing these little interviews, the emotion, the highs, the lows, and all that is part of this competition.
Well, there's nothing more dramatic, Tim Dreverman, than the sport of camp drafting. It is truly Australian. It was born in the bush early last century as a way for stock hands to show off their great skill on the land, on their horses, trying to navigate cattle through a course that has been set out, and we'll have Jim take us through all of the rules here this evening for the boys and girls of Sydney. But some lovely cattle out in the arena now. They'll be a big part of our competition. And they come from a very prestigious property in the Upper Hunter. That's Ellerston Pastoral. So it's a sport that began on Australian cattle stations where large mobs of cattle often ran unfenced, and men of the country would pit their riding skills and horse flesh up against one another as entertainment in harsh conditions and when they were killing some time. So stock that were camped for the night were drafted to demonstrate who was the superior horseman and who had the very best horse. A lot of friendly rivalry, boasts over campfires and bars about the ability of stockmen and their horses resulted in the first ever properly recorded camp draft more than a century ago, held up near Moree in northern New South Wales. Well, these days it is a very popular sport, not just for stockmen anymore, but for lots of brilliant ladies as well. It is the fastest growing horse sport in Australia, no longer just for those with cattle on the land. It's attracted equestrians from far and wide. And today there are thousands upon thousands of competitive camp drafters across the country. It's one of only 3 sports invented here in Australia, alongside polocrosse and AFL. It's one of the few sports as well where we pit men and women up against each other on equal terms. And if you've never seen the sport before, we're going to walk you through it step by step here this evening.
Well, Lindsay Douglas, they'll be running the left-hand course here tonight. So where the camp sits, if you're sitting in the Martin and Angus or the Cumberland stand, you'll see there are 2 pegs near where we're standing out here. You can see all our competitors warming up. They'll cut that beast out of the mob. They'll bring it round, they'll take it on a left-hand wheel around that first peg. They've got to bring it back through the middle, cross over, and the peg where I am right here out in the middle, they'll go on a right-hand wheel. Now the beast and the horse both need to pass on the right-hand side of this peg. Now you can imagine, Lindsay Douglas, you are travelling at about 35 kilometres an hour and you've got a beast, no connection to that, you don't have it on a lead rope, and after you go around this peg then you've got to head over towards the members stand, and you can see our judge at the moment on the buckskin horse over there, Mr. Warwick Lawrence, making what we call the gate. You need to take that beast, you need to take it from a right-hand wheel, put it on the left-hand wheel and line it up and go between the gate. You do that, you'll get a score out of 100. So the score for the cutout plus the score for the course and the horsemanship score all adds together to give you a score out of 100 here tonight. And we are looking forward to seeing night 1 of the Tyrrell's World Championship Rodeo here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show.
Great to see our competitors warming up out here. As I said before, we've got at least 2 out there that have never even been to a Sydney Royal Easter Show. So to receive an invitation to be part of the World Championship Campdraft is a daunting affair, but an exciting moment for us all. I can tell you that one of our 3 new competitors out here who hasn't had an invitation prior to 2023 is a brilliant lady called Cass Fordham. Now, Cass has actually done very well out here with her beef cattle judging in the past, but that's not in the main arena, that's over on the cattle lawns. We look forward to seeing her out here. She'll be coming out in position number 2 tonight. So 15 camp drafters. Each of them have been drawn in random order to campaign on night 1 of a 6-night competition. The order will be different every night. There's a real advantage to going first. You get the pick of all the cattle. There's also an advantage to going last. You get to have seen how each of the cattle before have gone. Well, as they line up, ladies and gentlemen, if I could ask you to all, please be upstanding. And gentlemen, if you would remove your hats, Emma Irene will lead us in the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are
beautiful rendition indeed by Emma Irene. We'll see Emma out in the night show here this evening. But Jim Callanan, our riders are ready to go now. Who will be first in camp?
Well, very good afternoon there, Lindsay Douglas. And round one of the World Championship Campdraft brought to you at the Compliments of Tyrrells. But just before we do get underway, in the last 24 hours and the last 2 days, one of our Campdraft competitors has lost his mum, and Stephen Wells lost his dad. So the Campdraft competitors are wearing black armbands for round one of the World Championship Campdraft in respect of Tony Mortimer's mum and the loss of Stephen Wells' dad. So our prayers and thoughts are with the Mortimers and the Wells. So Lindsay, we're about all set to go.
We are. This is Troy Palmer in camp now from Coolah, highly decorated campaigner on a lovely horse, the mare owned by he and his wife Fee. Blue Tunes in camp now. So you can see there's a herd of cattle there in the small penned yard. We call that the camp. When a rider's turn is called, he or she has to select and separate one beast from the herd in the camp. Then they need to block that beast from rejoining its mate.
So Lindsay, once again, this wonderful connection with the RAS and Ellerston Pastoral Company. Many thanks there to Rob Tagg and Scott Mitchell and the team, and to the Packer family. Another year of a magnificent line of cattle. So once again, many, many thanks to Ellerston Pastoral, as I said, to Rob Tagg, Scott Mitchell and the team, and to the Packer family. As we move on now with Troy Palmer with Blue Tunes, the horse trainer from Coolah, and Fiona and the kids will be riding with him from home, and Blue Tunes. And out of the camp is a possible score of 26. The competitor brings the beast up to get a possible score. It could be 22, could be 21, could be 24, could be 25. He calls for the gate. He's about to step out. Oh, the beast turns and heads out here now into the Giant Stadium. And look at Blue Toon, says, leave the footwork to me, as Troy Palmer. He just comes around, floats around the first peg, and Blue Toon says, leave the footwork to me. Now comes around Troy. He feeds him a little bit more rein now. He steps around, and Blue Toon says, well, just go now. We'll sit back. We'll go. The Australian stock horses at their very best. And look at Blue Toon right around there, says now, I think it's about time to go. They've got to do the changeover. They've got 3 out of 4 for the course. Come on, Sydney, you boys and girls. I think we're going to see something special. Round one, number 1, Blue Tunes and Troy Palmer. Come on down.
What a way to start the night. Tim Dreverman, we'd love to hear a few words from Troy Palmer. He placed second here last year.
This is a legend of the sport. Troy Palmer, night one, gets the gate. Welcome to Sydney.
Thanks, Timmy. Pleasure to be here again. Thanks to all the crowd for coming out. Cattle sponsors, good luck to everybody else.
Hey, mate, does that get the monkey off the back?
Oh, mate, it's a long competition from the start to the finish, mate. Just got to keep batting away at it.
Sydney, put your hands together for Troy Palmer, one of the best in the business, as we wait for the score.
The scores come through for Troy and Blue Tunes of 23 for cutout, 61.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, total of 88.5 points, 88.5 points for Blue Tunes, ridden by Troy Palmer.
Oh, he set the bar nice and high for the start of night one. Hey, this is Cassandra Fordham now. First time out here in the World Championship Campdraft. Very talented young lady. We look forward to seeing her out here.
Okay, now, Cassie Fordham, around the peg we go. Now with Daly's checks around the first peg they come. She's got a fast one. But Durley's check says we've got it all under control. Just leave here now. He says, feed me a little more rain. We'll do the changeover. We'll pick him up on the second peg. They've got 2 out of 4 for the course. She's looking for 3. Look here, Cassie Fordham, the emergency nurse sister from Tamworth in the New England, around the second peg. And she says, yo, look at that. Says here, I've got you covered. They go around. They got 3 out of 4. She's going for the big points. She's going for the big ones. And just goes down the side. Give her a round of applause, Sydney.
Come on, ladies. She's representing us out there. A wonderful Cass Fordham. Just got married in March of this year.
Scores come through now for Cassie Fordham with Dooley's checks of 21 for cutouts, 56.5 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 80.5 points. 80.5 points there for Dooley's checks and Cassie Fordham.
Well, next in camp is a gentleman who's competed here 8 times, placing 7 of those 8 occasions. Twice runner-up here. This is Andrew Chapman.
Okay, here we go. Chappie, as everybody refers to him as, with Fancy. Right up the face of the camp, looking for the big points out of a possible score of 26. Comes out now, about to step out into the Giant Stadium here for round number 1 of the World Championship Campdraft. Brought to you with the compliments of Tyrrell's Wines. They come around now. Chappie says, I'll just let you float around here. And the steers just says, I'll have a little bit of a look around this wonderful ground. He comes around and Chappie playing it all pretty safe. Says, I'll just let him run on by. About to do the changeover. Can he get the changeover there? No, it's going to be. And there goes the stock whips, the Australian stock whip. So there will be a camp score only and a lost beast outside there for Fancy and Andrew Chapman.
Well, we'll await the score to come through there for Chappie, the cutout score, while Dean Turner heads into camp from Dungog.
Yeah, cutout score there now for Fancy, written by Andrew Chapman, of 21 points. 21 points there for Andrew Chapman and Fancy.
Well, Dean Turner now on his lovely horse Ted by Brown Vintage and out of Just a Piece. They won at Walker last year and at Comboyne the year before. Took out the charity camp draft at Dungog earlier this year.
And we welcome our camp draft judges too for 2023, Mr. Warwick Lawrence and Mr. Rodney Crump. Warwick Lawrence been a past winner of the World Championship Camp Draft, and Rodney's been a competitor for the World Championship Camp Draft on several occasions. So great to see Warwick Lawrence and Rodney Crump officiating, doing the judging for 2023 for the World Championship Camp Draft.
Well, young Dean Turner in camp was at the Nutrient Classic in the Young Guns this year. Took out second place there from a huge field.
Well, Chappie, Andrew Chapman down here on the camp. Not the night you were looking for, mate, but how good is it to be back here at Sydney yet again?
Oh, it's a great experience here. Love being here every year, and it's just keep coming back as long as I can.
Mate, it's tough out here. It's not often you get to draft in front of a couple of thousand people on a turf arena. Normally it's out the back of some country town. How good is it for the bush to come to town?
Oh, it's great. It's it's a great experience out here. It's very different, this camp draft, than most. You know, we have a big arena here and on grass, and everything's very different. But it's a great experience. Six rounds, and it's big effort.
Thank you to the Kelly boys. Great to have you down here, Chappie. The Kelly boys get that steer away. We'll go back to Jimmy.
So Dean Turner, Dungog, makes his selection out of a possible score of 26 points. 2 points for the first peg, 1 for the second, 1 for the gate. And then out of a possible score of 70 points for horsework, adds it all up to 26, 70 and 4 out of a total of 100 points. Around the first peg they come. Dean Turner with Ted, and Ted says, leave the footwork to me. We're cruising pretty good. And he's about to do the changeover. He goes up another gear. He says, yes, I think it's about time to move now. Around the second peg they come. Oh yes, he says, we're looking pretty good. He says, I think we should sit about now and get ready for the changeover. They do. Come on, Sydney, boys and girls. I think we should get ready. I think we should get ready. Let's ride with Ted, and yes, he's going to. Dean Turner and Ted.
Oh, what an absolutely cracking ride out there for Dean Turner and his lovely horse. Well, he's absolutely on a running win at the moment, taking out a couple of camp drafts recently. Tim Dreverman.
Thank you, Lindsay. Yes, Dean, mate, how was that? The crowd behind you as you came to the gate.
Yeah, it was good.
Mate, tell us a little bit about this horse. What's his background? Where's he come from?
Oh, he's just a good old pony once you catch him.
Once you catch him, you're going to catch your breath, mate. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Dean Turner.
He's a grazier up there at Duncog, and I know Jess will be watching on, cheering at the moment.
Okay, so Mark Palmer. Palmer's dynamic. He's about to make his selection. And a wonderful line of the Angus steers. The compliments of Ellerston Pastoral Company. Once again, that great connection with the RAS and Ellerston Pastoral Company. So Mark Palmer right up the face of the camp. Does the 2, the 3, the 4 right up the face of the camp. The steer says, yes, I'll go. He says, I'm ready to step out. And Palmer's dynamic, got it all covered, goes to the far side. Out now, the gate swing open. Here we are, Palmer's dynamic with Mark Palmer in the saddle and around the first peg. He gets a very tight, close one. Oh, he says, that's what I wanted. Now he's about to do the changeover. Palmer's dynamic, look at that, just changes over. Says, so let's go, Mark. You come with me. You just sit in the saddle. I've got it all under control. Do the changeover. Come on, Sydney. Boys and girls, we're going to see a special one again. Can he do it? Let's ride with him. Palmer's dynamic. Mark Palmer! Oh! Give him a round of applause, so close.
Wonderful heritage here with the Palmer family. Mark's father, Bob, campaigned here for many years as well. We love seeing them out here.
Score for Dean Turner and Ted, 20 and a half for cutout, 63 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 87 and a half points. 87 and a half points for Ted, ridden by Dean Turner.
Robert Leach in camp now. A horse called Hazelwood Congressman by the famous Hazelwood Conman.
Score for Mark Palmer and Palmer's dynamic was 20 and a half for cutout, 60 for horsework, 3 course points, a total of 83 and a half points. 83 and a half points for Palmer's dynamic, ridden by Mark Palmer.
Well, we're just going to have a little hold here, ladies and gentlemen. We've got one of the Ellerston steers that's just feeling a little too fresh to be out here. And our stock crew are just going to remove him from the back pen so he doesn't stir the rest of the beast up. Those sitting over here in the Cumberland stand will have seen that. And while we do that, I'm sitting here beside Mr. Holtz, Matt Holtz. Mate, welcome to Sydney Show. Great to have you back here.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, it's been a few years, but it's great to be back.
Mate, your name up in lights because, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, this man won a draft worth $100,000 down there at Willinga Park last year, mate. That's almost life-changing.
Yeah, it was a great event. They do a great job, and yeah, it certainly was. It was great for the owners, you know, good recognition for the horse, and yeah, it was pretty good.
Mate, there's a lot of passion, a lot of time goes into producing the horses. Just tell the girls and boys, the ladies and gentlemen out there, what sort of work do you do to have your horse ready to compete here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show?
Well, these horses, they would have started, you know, many years ago, young horses that would have went through a training program, whether that be riding them to work or training just in flat work. But, you know, they would have had years and years of training and then out competing, and, you know, it takes 2 or 3 good years to get a horse pretty solid to draft, you know, so they're pretty competitive and solid in what they give.
And the horse you're on here tonight, mate?
Yeah, this is Nonda Last Frontier. Yeah, he's a pretty special pony. That's the one I won Willinga on, and yeah, love him. You know, trying to do a good job for Graham and Jody, and yeah, try and present him well.
Well, best of luck in the competition. Big thanks to our stockmen and women doing a superb job as we go back to Jimmy and Lindsay.
Okay, so we go with Robert Leach, a horse trainer from Tamworth, Hazelwood Congressman. So Rob Leach has ran his eye over these wonderful lot of Angus steers. Just waiting to get it in the right position so he can get it away cleanly to try and impress the judges a little more. See, this is the one I want. He's been down the back there chewing his cut. He's a pretty happy looking Angus steer. And look at Hazelwood Congressman Rob Leach. He's about to call for the gate. He goes the 1, the 2, the 3, and look here, covers the beast right across, turns, he comes back around. And he just squeezes down the fence, but he blocks him down there. Now comes out now. He's out into the Giant Stadium now. He comes around the first peg here now. This is Rob Leach from Tamworth in the New England around the first peg. Now, Congressman says, just leave the footwork to me. You're going to tighten things around the second. Look here, Campdrafting right up on the beast's shoulder. Comes right around here now. Comes around. Now, Hazelwood Congressman says, leave the footwork to me. Come on, Sydney. I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see it. Yes, they go. Can they? Right around. But he just can't push him between the pegs.
Well, Tim Dreverman's making his way over now to a combination that has absolutely been on fire in recent weeks.
Rob Leach, great success at Armidale a couple of weeks ago. Get a score on the board here tonight, mate. How good is that?
Yeah, mate, no, good. It's just good to be here, Tim, with the atmosphere and on my favourite horse under lights. It's great.
Where else in the world would you want to be? I said before, many a camp draft is at a country town. You're in the big smoke for the next 5 days, mate. Enjoy the time here.
Thanks, Tim.
Rob Leach, ladies and gentlemen, will wait for the score, but give him a big round of applause.
Okay, the score comes through for Rob Leach and Hazelwood Congressman of 18 for cutout, 64.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 86.5 points.
Well, Brent Smythe now on Scandal. Will he cause a scandal out here tonight? As the station manager at Wilmot Cattle Company. Had success at the Manila Camp Draft on this horse.
So Brent Smythe, the station manager from Gunnedah, he moves in. He says there must be an 88 or a 90 or a 92 or 3 in one of these here, and he says, I hope I picked the right one. So Brent Smythe with Scandal moves up to the face of the camp, looking to get as many points as possible out of a score of 26. And Scandal, Brent Smythe, they step out now onto the dance floor here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, round 1 of the World Championship Campdraft. Going to look at Scandal right around on the beast's shoulder. Nice little bit of work. Comes around here now, says, I'll just let him run on a little tiny bit. And the steer has a little bit of a look at the green peg, says, yes, I'll come around here. Now Scandal and Brent Smythe, they go, they do the changeover. Around the second peg, they make their way. They come around. Can he get it around? He says, yes, just sit. Just sit, he says, now we're ready to go, Brent. Can we move around a little further? Yes, they can. Oh, magnificent here, can we? I think it's going to happen this time, Sydney. Boys and girls, mums and dads, I think it's going to. He comes around, and yes!
Well, what a combination to look at here.
Well, Mr. Brent Smythe, mate, you were rubbing that steer on the shoulder multiple times. You had to work to get it, but you got it there.
Oh, yeah, it was a bit of work. It's good to get the nervous jitters out of the way.
Mate, how much adrenaline do you get when you're up behind a 300-kilo beast on a horse galloping at about 30 k's an hour?
Oh, there's nothing like it. It's probably part of the reason why we do it.
And then you get the crowd behind you, give you a few goosebumps?
Yeah, how good is it?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, let's raise the roof here at the Giant Stadium for Mr. Brent Smythe.
Okay, the scores come through for Brent Smythe and Scandal of 20.5 for cutout, 59.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 84 points. 84 points there for Scandal, ridden by Brent Smythe.
Well, Josh Barnett in camp now on Simply Irreductible. The horse he calls Rosa at home. From Singleton in New South Wales, formerly a saddle bronc rider, bull rider, polo cross player, but he's best known here for consistently being on the podium in the World Championship Campdraft.
Okay, here we go. Simply Irreductible and Josh Barnett right up the face of the camp. He's going for the big ones here in round number 1. He calls for the gate. He steps out onto the dance floor here now. And here we go, Simply Irreductible and Josh Barnett. Now this is Becky's partner's favourite horse. He says, come on. And Beck would be riding right with him at the moment around the first peg. They do the changeover. Look here. Look at Simply Irreductible. And now Josh Barnett, he's riding for the big points. And come on, Beck, ride with him. Come on, Beck, ride with him, Now do the changeover. Sydney, boys and girls, get ready. Simply Irreductible's got it all under control. Straight through the gate. There's no doubt about you, Beck. You're a lady there of guidance.
It's been very successful on the full sister. Duck Rageous to this horse.
Well, Mr. Barnett, welcome down here, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Look forward to coming down here every year. It's definitely a favourite.
Mate, old Callow over there kept saying, good job, Beck. What's he talking about?
Yeah, I probably owe this little man it back. Thanks to her for letting me ride her.
Mate, it's a good one to steal. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, put the hands together for Josh Barnett.
Scores come through for Josh Barnett and Simply Irreductible of 22 for cutout. 64.5 for horsework. 4 out of 4 for the course and a new leader of 90.5 points. 90.5 points for Simply Irreductible and Josh Barnett.
New leader now, but in cap, Tony Mortimer and Little Abby.
So Tony Mortimer from Saltash. Just waiting to get this Angus steer into position. Only wants to get one up, he does. He says, I don't want them all there. I just want to move that one around to try and get him away nice and clean. The judges will be looking to be nice and clean and up the front. Tony says, this is the one I want. Got him in position now. Tony Mortimer, Little Abby. Right up the face of the camp they come. Going for the big points. He goes across, he does the 3, the 4, he calls for the gates to open. And look at Little Abby. Tony Mortimer steps out. Now, they're on centre stage here at the Royal Easter Show 2023. Oh, look here. Around the first peg they come. Around the first peg. And yes, Little Abby says, don't this feel good? Turns around, does a little bit of a changeover, change strides. Yes, comes around. He says, yes, look at Campdrafting at his best. Right around on the beast's shoulder. Little Abby, Tony Mortimer. Now Sydney, boys and girls, mums and dads. Come on, let's ride with Tony and Little Abby. Can they do it? Can they do it? Can they do it? Yes! And the angel in heaven will be looking after him down on Tony this evening.
Well, Tony Mortimer currently sitting in 3rd place in the most successful rider standings.
Tony Mortimer, a special night tonight. How's that to get the gate?
Yeah, mate, felt good.
And tell us about this little horse, mate.
She's carried me a long way, this little mare, Little Abby. Yeah, I wouldn't be who I am today without her.
Well done, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together for Tony Mortimer.
Scores come through for Little Abby and Tony Mortimer of 21 for cutout, 62.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 87.5 points. 87.5 points for Little Abby, ridden by Tony Mortimer.
Denny Farley now heads into camp on Tabasco. A horse side by Playboy Hefner. And out of a Scrumlow mare. Well, the Farley family produce custom leatherwork and saddlery. They do a beautiful job.
So Denny Farley. And Tabasco, the property manager from Karabi via Dimman in the Hunter Valley. And around the first peg, they make their way now. And he's got himself a fast one. He says, I'll just let him take a little bit of a run out of himself and come around here, and things are looking good for the first peg. Now here we go, Danny Farley and Tabasco and Sharia. Danny's wife will be riding with him well. She's here in the stand as well. Says, now just do as I say, please. Comes around Tabasco, Danny Farley. She says yes. She's starting to get excited. I can see you from here, Cherie. Now they come around. She says, please, please come around, come through the gate. And Danny says, I'm trying. Tabasco says, yes, I'm trying as well. And they're all going to put it together and come between the gates.
Well, Lindsay Douglas, I'm running out of steam cantering out here. These camp drafters are just too good. Denny Farley, how did that feel, my friend?
No, it's good. Yeah, good to get the first one done, so, yeah.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, the girls and boys, where have you come from?
From Krabi, near Danman, in behind Widden, so not too far.
Nice bit of country. Hey, these Ellerston cattle are running pretty good, aren't they?
No, it's been a good draft, always is, and, yeah, pleasure to be here.
Well, the stockman from the Hunter Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Denny Farley.
Well, Tim, yes, the scores come through for Denny Farley and Tabasco of 20 for cutout, 61 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 85 points. 85 points there for Tabasco and Denny Farley.
It looks like we'll have Wade Miles in camp now from the Hunter Valley.
Yeah, we move on to the stock agent from Scone here. Works in Scone. He lives at Ruckle via Aberdeen in the Hunter Valley. Wade Miles with main camp expression. So he's made his selection. He says, I want to get as many as I can here. You don't start right. He said, you don't finish right. So Wade Miles with main camp expression moves up the face of the camp here now, goes one way, goes the other, comes around, he calls for the gate, they swing open. Now Wade Miles with main camp expression steps out now onto the dance floor here in the Giant Stadium. They come around the first peg and all the beast says, I'll fasten up a little and see where the main camp expression can catch me. Comes around, he says, oh, that's no problems at all. I just touch a little bit more on the accelerator. He sits back now, comes around. Now Wade's about to ride now. Comes around here now, comes around and Wade Miles, main camp expression, gets around here now, does the changeover. Now April. Where are you now, April? His partner comes around, ride with Wade now, and the Black Angus steer, can they? Yes! April, you've got great judgment. You helped him through there.
Well, a lovely horse there, owned by the Brooker family, by Hayden Laser, and out of Main Camp Ebony.
Hey, Wade, and at Sydney, how's that feel?
Yeah, pretty good, Tim. It's good to get the first one around and get that out of the road.
Once you get a score on the board, you can relax, but it's a long competition right through here till Monday night. How are you feeling on the Giant Stadium?
Yeah, it's good to be back down here for another lap at him.
Well, the stock agent from Scone, he wouldn't normally get a crowd cheering for him this big. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Wade.
Okay, the scores come through for Wade Miles and main camp expression of 21 for cutout, 62 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, total of 87 points. 87 points for main camp expression, ridden by Wade Miles.
This next combination took out the golden bit at Willinga last year. This is Matt Holtz and Nonda Last Frontier.
Here we go, Matt Holtz, here he comes, out onto centre stage. And says, yes, he got a nice kind running Angus steer around the first peg. And Nonda Last Frontier says, there's a beautiful ground out here. And look here, we've got a nice running beast as well. Matt Holtz now just does the changeover around the second peg. They've got 2 out of 4 for the course. Now got 2 points for the first peg. They get 1 for the second. He comes around. Now, Nonda Last Frontier. Oh, he's going to come in on the top side. And he says, I'll get a second go at that probably and try and come back around. And Nonda Last Frontier says, I'll just sit back a little bit and let this Angus steer run on and see if he... There goes the time and there goes the whips. So the score's about to come through there and the judges have come up. They'll get 2 points for the first peg. That's what it looks like here on paper now.
Competitor from Narrabri, the youngest competitor in the ring, 20 years of age. Exciting to see Dylan McKinnon here on Rodler Sunset. First time here at the World Championships. First time at Sydney Royal Easter Show. Youngest competitor in the lineup. Placed first in Tenterfield at the Open earlier this year. the Novice and Open at Barraba last year. Won the Maiden and Novice at Garra last year. Was successful in the Novice as well in Dundee. Likes to play rugby league in the spare time.
Scores come through for Matthew Holtz and Nonda Last Frontier of 18.5 for cutout, 46.5 for horsework, 2 out of 4 for the course, a total of 67 points. 6-7 there for Nonda Last Frontier and Matthew Holtz. So Dylan McKinnon, Rodler Sunset. Well, the sun has set here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, here for round 1. So Dylan McKinnon, his first year here. Campdrafting here in the World Championship Campdraft. Got his favourite supporters here as well in Mum and Dad, Rodney and Lorraine. So the camp draft is in the camp, then they make their selection is out of a possible score of 26. And as you have seen, it's a left-hand course tonight. It gets 2 points for the first peg. They come back to the centre of the ground and do the changeover. They get 1 point for the second peg. And the 2 pegs that are close together in front of the members stand, that is what we refer to as the gate, and you get another point for that. So 2 points for the first peg, 1 for the second, 1 for the gate. That's a total of 4 points. And if you miss the gate, well, that's 3 points. And then the horse work, it is the speed of the run, the control of the run, how the horse is working, is out of a possible score of 70 points. So the 26, the 70 and the 4 is out of a possible score of 100 points.
Jim, probably 30 years ago, you'd think that 95% of the competitors in camp drafting were from the land and so therefore quite familiar with this sport. But these days, nearly 50% are from more urbanised backgrounds or other equestrian pursuits. There's a little bit of cowboy in every one of us.
Well, into the World Championship Campdraft gets its name because no other country work cattle like the Australian stockmen do. So it's the World Championship Campdraft. And once again, many thanks to our great sponsors for many, many years. Tyrrell's Wines, for looking after Australia's #1 horse sport, camp drafting. So here we go, Dylan McKinnon from Upper Horton and around the first peg. He makes his way. He says, yes, it feels pretty good out here. Now, Rodler Sunset says, yes, we'll just sit around here. We'll let him come around. Will he come around? And he's not going to muck around. He says, no, we'll wait till round number 2. Give me a nice round of applause there, Sydney. Rodler Sunset, ridden by Dylan McKinnon. His first time here drafting at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. And Rodler Sunset, ridden by Dylan McKinnon, go out with a cutout score of 20 points. 20 points there for Rodler Sunset, ridden by Dylan McKinnon.
Well, we've got some mighty big scores up here for night 1 already. A 90.5, Josh Barnett and Simply Irreductible. Couple of scores in the high 80s as well. Troy Palmer, Dean Turner, Wade Miles, Tony Mortimer, all sitting pretty there in the late 80s. Well, our next young competitor in camp took out this event on his birthday last year. 6 nights, and he was the victorious competitor from Tamworth in the New England, riding a horse called Binya Milan, Wyatt Young in camp now.
Yes, Lindsay, you are correct. You've got a great memory. He had no trouble blowing the candles out this time last year when he took out the World Championship Campdraft. and right up the face of the camp he comes with Billy Mullane. Now White Young going for the big ones in round number 1. He calls for the gates, ace swing open. He's on centre stage. Oh, look here, he's got himself. Oh my goodness, look at that. And Benny Mullane says, leave the footwork to me, and you better stop in the saddle, Wyatt, and come with me. As he throws the reins, he says, I'll sit a little closer here now. Can he get the second one like the first one? He comes around. He says, now I'll just sit back here. Now he gathers his momentum again. Benny Mullane says, you didn't think I was that quick, did you? And he comes around now, ride with him now. Mum and Dad, Craig and Janelle, they be riding with Craig now. And Wyatt, turn around, look here. Benny Mullane, come on down. And White Young.
Well, currently sitting at the top of the novice ABCRA standings. Comes from a strong background of showing Australian stock horses.
Hey, White Young, how did it feel going around that first peg tonight?
Yeah, no, it was a bit tight, wasn't it?
Is that what you planned?
Not really, but we'll go with it.
Mate, it looked very spectacular. Now, this horse, bred by fellow competitor, I think, Troy Palmer, it's a pretty handy horse in the White Young camp.
Yeah, that's right, Troy and Fiona bred her, and yeah, we've had a lot of fun with her.
Well, well done. We'll go back to Callow for the score.
Okay, here we go. White Young and Benny Mullane, 22 for cutout, 61.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a score of 87.5 points, 87.5 for White Young and Benny Mullane.
One of our Queensland competitors will be last into camp now, Mr. Matt Moffat from a little town near Rockhampton, and a horse called She Be a Cat. Started in Pony Club, as so many great equestrians do.
So Matt Moffat, his first year at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, campdrafting for the World Championship Campdraft, and She Be a Cat. And here we go, Matt Moffat and She Be a Cat. He says, yes, I come around here now and got him all covered around. They get 2 out of 4 for the first peg. They do the changeover. She Be a Cat, sure, she's going to purr around the second peg, can they? He says, I'll just sit back, finger touch control. Matt Moffat, She Be a Cat, says, let's go now, let's go now. Let's all try and go with She Be a Cat. And Matt Moffat, boys and girls and Sydney, can they do it? Oh, look at this camdrafting. Can they push it around? Can they push it around? Let's ride with him. She Be a Cat, Matt Moffat, can they? Can they? Yo, yes! Pussy, pussy, pussy.
Hey, he's won some big competitions in the past, taken out the Graham Acton Memorial Open at Paradise Lagoons. He's won the Charlie Marr Young Guns. And wow, I cannot wait to see this score here tonight for Matt Moffat of Rockhampton in Queensland.
Oh, Matt, you made it hard work to the gate there, mate. You were in left, right, but you stuck with it. Persistent pays off.
Yeah, mate, sure does. You just got to keep sticking to it and hope for the best.
Mate, do you often get to ride in front of a crowd this big at camp drafts?
No, mate, this is unreal. I come from Queensland and there's nothing like this at home, so absolute credit to getting invited to come to any, so yeah, appreciate it.
First time at Sydney?
Sure is, mate.
Hey, Sydney, how about we give him a great big welcome? Put your hands together for Mr. Matt Moffat.
So the scores come through for Matt Moffat and She Be a Cat of 22 for cutout, 57 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 82 points. 82 points there for She Be a Cat, ridden by Matt Moffat.
Well, it looks like it's Josh Barnett's night tonight, and as we say, it's a marathon out here, 6 nights of World Championship Campdrafting. You have to perform night after night after night in order to be on the podium. But Tim Dreverman, our judges tonight have had a pretty difficult job.
They certainly have, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with one of our judges. Proud to say he's a good mate of mine, Mr. Warwick Lawrence. Welcome back to Sydney for the second year.
Thanks, Tim. It's great to be here.
Mate, tough camp drafting here tonight. There was some pretty fiery Angus cattle thanks to Ellerston, but the guys got a few very good scores on the board.
Yeah, the cattle were good, but they actually probably ran better than what I thought they were going to. The competitors done a very good job. The ground held up good, and it's going to be exciting.
Took the next question out of my mouth. There's been a lot of talk. I saw every rider out here walking at lunchtime today. How's the turf going to be here in the Giant Stadium? Night one, mate, and we've got some great scores and a credit to the curators here.
That's exactly right, because we were here earlier in the week and it was pretty skatey, and we were thinking, you know, this could be a bit how you going, but everyone threw the reins at them and they were good.
Well, we've got 5 more nights. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for a gentleman of the sport, Mr. Warwick Lawrence.
And how fantastic were those Black Angus cattle out here this evening from Ellerston Pastoral. Some happy cows. Well, we had 3 scores tonight at 87.5. Dean Turner, Tony Mortimer and Wyatt Young. Troy Palmer sits in second currently with an 88 on Blue Tunes. But tonight's the night for Josh Barnett and Simply Irreductible. Well, Tim Dreverman, thanks for bringing us all of the action on the ground after each of our successful gate completions, and he'll head off now. We'll see Tim back out here for the tent pegging coming up in a few moments' time. But Jim Callanan's on the ground for the presentation of our winner and place getters on night 1 of the World Championship Campdraft.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. Well, Josh, what a great way to kick it off. Congratulations on round 1.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Not a bad start, I suppose. It's a long 6 nights down here at Sydney, but yeah, started off good.
Josh, to get to this level, you know what it's like. You've come through the junior ranks in different equestrian sports, and you've excelled at all those. It takes a lot of time and dedication.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of hours go into these horses, but yeah, it's just good to be down here against some of the best fellas in Australia, and yeah, and do good, mix it with them.
Back in the early days, you had a lot of support from your mum and dad, Richard and Annette.
Yeah, that's right, and still do. Yeah, no, I can't thank them enough for helping us out and getting us down the road.
And your number 1 supporter today, Beck, she does a lot of things for you. I started writing them down, then I ran out of paper.
Yeah, she'd be in the stand there. She got it ready and yeah, does most of the work with her.
Okay, congratulations for round 1 and all the very best for the remaining 5 rounds, Josh.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Well, we've had a great
Lindsay,
night.
we'll go back up to you, and that is round 1 of the World Championship Campdraft, brought to you with the compliments of Tyrrells. So thank you very much, Lindsay Douglas.
Well, put your hands together for the voice of camp drafting and all of the great equestrian sports in Australia, Mr. Jim Callanan. Does a wonderful job as always, and great to see Josh Barnett here leading out our top 5 on night 1 on a horse that is the full sister to one he's had a lot of success on out here in the past. This time, he's on Simply Irreductible. Congratulations also to Troy Palmer and Blue Tunes.